Oh, it's perfect. Oh, it's perfect. This is a thrilling, exciting time. There's so many cupcake shops in Chicago that it's going to be impossible to determine who has the best cupcake. I've chosen 7 different cupcake shops in 7 different locations in Chicago. All of them are chocolate. I asked for vanilla icing on all of them, but only one of them has chocolate on it. They messed up and gave me the wrong one. And we're going to determine who has the best cupcakes based on the criteria of appearance, smell, icing taste, icing texture, cake taste, cake texture, overall combined taste, cost, and the overall value. And I'm going to rate these on a ranking of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, and whoever gets the most points wins. I'm going to go in alphabetical order of the name of the bakery that makes the cupcakes, and I'll put the information below in the description so you know exactly where they are and what they're about. I have tried 2 of these cupcake shops before, so I know what they're about, but the other 5 I've never tried before, so they're brand new to me. And let's get started. We're going to start with the Goddess and the Baker. There's a few Goddess and the Baker shops throughout Chicago. This one happens to be downtown along the river. As far as appearance goes, it's a good looking cupcake. It's got chocolate icing, it's got some sprinkles and some design on top. You know, it comes wrapped in a piece of paper. It's a decent looking, well designed cupcake. It smells delicious and it smells decadent. You probably think I'm gonna get sick of cupcakes by the end of this. And that only means you don't know me. So I'm gonna give this a taste. So the smell smells deeply rich and very dark chocolatey. I can't smell the difference between the icing and the cake, so we're going to taste the icing first. The icing is rich, it's dark, it is a deep, deep, dark chocolate. It's a little overly sweet, so I'm gonna give it a 3. But it's a really good sweet. Well, let's taste the cake. All right, it's a little thick. It's a little dense. It's not super spongy, which is a little disappointing. And here's the overall combined taste. Ready? Here we go. It's a good cupcake. It's not my favorite cupcake that I've ever had. I feel like most of the flavor is coming from the icing, and the cake is all about the texture. So it's not bad. It's not. I thought the combination would make the two much, much better, but they'll sort of yin and yang each other. It's good. It's good. Overall, I'm going to give the overall combined taste a 3. And they also messed up and they didn't give me the vanilla icing, which I asked for. And then we'll add all these up at the end and we'll see what happens. Next, we're going to go with Magnolia. So this is a shop that I've never ever been to before. And it's this delicious looking thing. It's small, very small, but it looks nice. It's a green icing. They told me that it's vanilla and a small amount of sprinkles on top, like pinkish sprinkles. The smell, I think I'm mostly getting a vanilla smell from the icing. But it does smell quite nice. The icing taste, are you ready? It's very sugary. I'm not getting a lot of vanilla flavor. The icing is disappointing. It basically tastes sweet. There's probably butter in there, but I can't really tell. It's mostly just decadently sugary. Yeah, it's not as creamy as I think a buttercream icing should be. So the icing is really disappointing. It tastes okay, it's just sweet. So now let's taste the cake. The cake smells like chocolate cake. I can't say there's anything special about it. It's not the best chocolate cake that I've ever had, but I do love chocolate cake. I'm gonna have to give it a 2. And the texture of the cake, it's not particularly spongy. If anything, it's a little bit dense. So I have to also give that a 2. Oh man, I hate doing that. But now let's combine the 2 and see what they both taste like. Yeah, it's a sweet icing with a chocolate cake. It's not a very large cupcake, so I don't think that's great value for money. And combined with the flavor, I'm surprised. This place is, I've heard of this place and it's quite popular. It looks a lot better than the actual experience of eating it. That's disappointing. So up next is Molly's Cupcakes. This is located up in Lincoln Park in Chicago. It's a good looking cupcake. It's smaller than the one from the Goddess and the Baker. It's probably a little on the small side for a cupcake, but it's definitely larger than the one from Magnolia. The overall appearance is terrific. It's got the perfect shape for a cupcake. It has a beautiful patterned icing on top, a little, instead, like the sprinkles are tiny little dots of colorful sprinkles, which I like. And it's the perfect shape. It's got a nice spongy feel to it. I'm not getting much of a smell off of this. Even when I take the wrapper off, I can smell a little bit of the chocolate, but I'm not getting a heck of a lot of smell. Okay. That's delicious. I can taste the vanilla. I can taste the butter. It has a wonderful texture. It's thick, it's decadent, that's delicious icing. Now let's taste the cake. Okay, that's delicious. I've had this before, so I kind of knew what to expect. This is a perfectly spongy cake. It has a lot of give to it. It has a little bit of air in there, which I love because it gives it a fantastic texture. It's pretty gosh darn close to a perfect cupcake. I can see why I've been there a few times. It's better than I remember it. I haven't had one of these in a long time. The overall combined taste, which I know is going to be good, because how could it not be? That's a cupcake. That's excellent. That is excellent. That's a heck of a good That's a heck of a good cupcake. It's going to be hard to compete with that. So what's next? Smallcakes Cupcakery and Bakery. They're downtown in the Loop in Chicago, and they have a delightful looking cupcake. Look, it's pink. So this is a good looking cupcake. It has a little, I don't know what those are. They're kind of like little crystally sugar, pinkish sugary things on top. The overall appearance, this is a really cute, fun little cupcake. And the smell smells like, well, the icing is overpowering. It smells like food coloring. That's all I can smell. You know how sometimes you get something from the bakery and it's got a particular color to it and it just smells of that sort of chemically food coloring smell. So I'm gonna give that a 2 as far as the smell goes. And the icing, let's taste. Yeah, it's a little, I can taste the food coloring, but the texture is excellent. It's super duper creamy. I don't know, just gotta have a ton of butter in it or something because it's super duper creamy. Like, the texture is absolutely wonderful. It's unfortunate that the taste does not match the texture of it. It tastes a little bit chemically, and that's disappointing. But what are you gonna do? So let's taste the cake. I was really rooting for it. It's dry. It tastes like it might be a day or so old. It's disappointing. I was expecting more because I was excited because the customer service here was so fantastic. It's simply dry and it's a little on the stale side. But let's taste overall combined taste, which I'm gonna eat some of this pink stuff again. It tastes like pink. Yeah. It tastes like a fake cupcake. It tastes like something manufactured in a... It tastes like something that's manufactured in a factory. It's a good sized cupcake, but overall value combined with taste and smell and textures and all that, it's really disappointing. Like, even on a good day, I don't think I would have another one of these. I don't think I'll finish this one. And I'm disappointed because I was expecting so much more. What are you gonna do? Up next is Southport Grocery. This is up on Southport Avenue in Chicago. It is a very plain looking cupcake. It's pretty much exactly what I would probably bake at home if I were to make a cupcake. The icing plops right down into the cup. It looks like someone baked a cupcake and plopped some icing on it and just took a knife and sort of made it look a little bit pretty. Let's see what this is about. So I'm smelling it. I haven't taken the paper off yet. I can smell the icing. The icing smells very good. And as I take the paper off, it's a nice thick amount of icing. As I take the paper off, oh, I can smell that chocolate. It smells really good. That is a good smelling cupcake. I can smell, I'm smelling a very even amount of the icing and the cake. So I'm getting a little vanilla smell from the icing and a nice friendly smell of chocolate, because there's nothing better than friendly chocolate. So I'm super impressed with the way that it smells. However, the appearance, it's a little on the dull side. So I'm gonna give the appearance a 2, and the reason I'm giving it that much is because I find it to be very kind of welcoming, like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm at a neighbor's house or something. Like, let's taste the icing. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, it's perfect. This is a thrilling, exciting time. I'm gonna give that a 5. It's sugary, it's sweet, it's buttery, it's creamy. It's vanilla-y, it's perfect. It's exactly what you want from an icing. This is delicious icing. I love that. Icing texture, yeah. It has a little bit of sugariness to it. It sits on the tongue really well. It's melting right off my tongue. I'm gonna give that a 5. That's the perfect icing. All right, so let's taste the cake. The cake is, oh, it's thick cake. It's a heavy cake. It is spongy, but it's still very heavy. Okay. Oh my, that is a delicious chocolate cake. It's not overly sweet. It's perfect amount of sweetness. It's the perfect amount of dark chocolate. So I'm tasting every little texture and I can feel the cake sitting on my tongue. It's absolutely delicious. So let's try the icing and the cake together. Yeah, that is a nice cupcake. I'm gonna have a little bit more. I don't know what to say. I'm kind of blown away on this. I do have to take a little bit off because of the appearance. It doesn't look like a great cupcake. Up next, we have a cupcake from Sugar Bliss Cake Boutique, which is downtown in the Loop. This cake is really pretty. It's a perfectly shaped cupcake, and it has little plop, 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 plop of icing on top with little what looks like a chocolate kiss right on top. It's a little on the small side. Overall, though, it's a really pretty cupcake. Probably the best looking cupcake, but it's small. The smell is, it's a good smelling cake, but I can't smell the icing. So when I smell a cupcake, I think I kind of want to smell both, because the cake itself smells really fantastic. So let's taste the icing. Yeah, it's a good icing. It's a sweet icing. It's a creamy icing. I can taste a little bit of vanilla. I can taste a little bit of the butter. It's not particularly super flavorful. It's mostly sweet. It's not quite as vanilla-y or buttery as some of the others. But it's good. You know, kind of middle of the road. Icing texture. Icing texture is great. It's creamy. It's not even all that sugary, so it's more creamy than it is sugary. Oh, this is a very spongy cake, which I kind of like. That is a tasty cake. That is a rich, deep, dark, chocolatey tasting cake. Let's combine them and eat both at the same time and see what happens. The cake overwhelms the icing, which I find a little surprising because I really thought that would be a whole heck of a lot I really thought that would be a much better combination of icing to cake. Next, we have a cupcake from a shop that I've been to before called Sweet Mandy B's. It's also located up in Lincoln Park here in Chicago. And I've been here before and I like it. I know that I like it, but I've always been curious as to see what it tastes like compared to all the other cupcakes that I could find in Chicago. Well, the overall appearance, it's a plain, good-looking cupcake. It's not overly decorated. It's got some sprinkles on top and a green icing. So let's give it a try. I can smell the buttercream of the icing. And as far as the cake is concerned, well, I can smell the chocolatiness of the cake. The icing looks great. Okay. Oh, that is excellent. It's buttery, it's creamy, so there's a hint of salt, so it gives a little bit of an extra kick, you know, that wonderful sweet and salty taste that is so popular these days. That is a terrific icing. That is like maybe the best buttercream icing I've ever tasted in my life. But this is good. Let's talk about the taste of the cake. Again, the texture of that cake is perfect. It's spongy, it's sweet. I can absolutely taste how chocolatey it is, and the chocolate isn't overpowering. Okay. That's blasted perfect. So that's a delicious cupcake. I mean, this is gonna get finished in quick succession. And I can't take anything off of it other than the appearance. It's just the perfect cupcake. So I'm gonna go away for a moment. I'm gonna add all this stuff up and I'll be right back and we're gonna see who has the best cupcake in Chicago. Can't wait. We have a winner. So like I said, I based this on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. So let's get to the results. In 7th place, with a total of 18 points, is Smallcakes Cupcakery and Bakery. Overall, I was fairly disappointed with it. Based on the way it looked and the customer service, I thought this place is going to be really, really great. It's not the best cupcake that I've ever had. It's certainly not the worst cupcake I've ever had. In 6th place, with 20 points, is Magnolia. Magnolia was disappointing. It was a tiny little cupcake, and based on the cost of $4.39, it just wasn't great value for money. And it didn't taste that great. It was an okay cupcake. But considering the size and considering the cost, I think you'd say, well, I was expecting more from a cupcake shop that has the gall to charge that much money for a cupcake. In 5th place with 27 points is Goddess and the Baker. I thought overall the icing was overwhelming. It was a nice tasty icing, but the cake didn't quite match the flavor of the icing. And I hate saying this, but they did mess up my order and they gave me the wrong cupcake, which happens. In 4th place, with a total of 31 points, we have Sugar Bliss Cake Boutique. This was a really, really nice cupcake. The overall combined taste was not absolutely superb. It was sort of middle of the road, but I really enjoyed this cupcake. And at 31 points, it is a little on the pricey side, but it's a downtown location and downtown tends to be expensive. This is it, the top 3 cupcakes in Chicago. In 3rd place with 35 points, we have Molly's Cupcakes. It's a terrific cupcake. The customer service there is always excellent. It's a little on the smaller side, but it's also the cheapest cupcake at $2.85. That's a bargain. It's not the biggest cupcake, it's not the smallest cupcake. Coming in at 2nd place with 36 points was Southport Grocery, a fantastic cupcake. Everything about this cupcake was perfect with the exception of the appearance, which I find kind of charming because it's deceptive. It doesn't look like it's going to be much, but that cupcake is fantastic. The texture is perfect, the icing is perfect, the flavors are perfect, the combination is perfect. And in 1st place, drum roll, or not, we have at 39 points, Sweet Mandy B's. This is a cupcake shop that is the cupcake shop to beat in Chicago. It's fantastic. 5 points across the board for every single category with the exception of the appearance, only because it didn't look as fancy as some of these other cupcakes. It's a delicious cupcake. It's the perfect combination of taste. It's the perfect combination of texture. It's the perfect combination of chocolate to the vanilla icing. It's the best cupcake I've ever had in Chicago. And it might be the best cupcake I've ever had in my life. So what do you think? Did I miss anything? Would you have done this differently? And maybe the best cupcake in the whole world is out there and I just haven't tried it yet. So comment down below, let me know. And the big question is am I sick of cupcakes? No, I'm fine. Anyway, see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't disappoint me.